The spotlight shines brightly on the actors, actresses, singers, and other Hollywood stars, but sometimes that spotlight can cast a shadow of suspicion and intrigue. Number 10. Michael Jackson was an American singer, songwriter, performer, and the king of pop. During the mid-80s, he was one of the world's most popular entertainers. He also had younger siblings, who would later become known as the Jackson 5, consisting of Jackie, Tito, Jermaine, Marlon, and Michael. At the age of 50, the pop king would pass away. It was in 2009 that he suffered cardiac arrest, a passing that would be ruled as a homicide after the fatal consumption of a medicine combination. Ever since the sudden passing of the pop star, many conspiracy theories have come about. There's been speculation about exactly how he passed and who was involved, suggestions that he expired 2 years prior and was replaced with a double. But it's also been proposed that the singer never really met his demise at all. According to some theorists, Michael merely faked it to escape some money worries and start a whole new life. Some point to the idea that he was in debt and being pressured by creditors. This is said to be a supporting piece of evidence as to why the star would want to flee. But the Los Angeles coroner's office declared that the post-mortem revealed that it was definitely Michael. This confirmation didn't deter the theorists a bit, and it didn't take long for the sudden sightings to start popping up, no less than 6 days later. Michael passed on the 25th of June, and on the 1st of July, the first sighting came about. The witness was at the Sydney airport when they saw a man who looked exactly like the recently deceased. He was the same build, height, and complexion. It was reported that this doppelganger was walking very quickly, wearing sunglasses and keeping his head down. There have since been various sightings of the celebrity in the South Island of New Zealand. Theorists then purported that he'd actually been living in Ontario, Canada. It was about a week later when fans had seen a pale, middle-aged figure being escorted into a house, surrounded by 3 guards. The house owner was believed to be Elaine P., whom no one has ever seen. When servants are asked about him, they merely respond, "He's a very private man." Some contractors hired to do housework alleged that Elaine's voice sounds very much like Michael's. The next reported glimpse came at the store known as Harrods. One individual pointed out that one of Michael's friends, Mohammed Al-Fayed, owned the store. It was in 2011 that the witness had been at the store, browsing some furniture, with only 4 other customers roaming around. The witness and a friend who accompanied him noticed the store owner speaking to one of the customers, and shortly after they were asked to leave because of a maintenance issue. The 2 left but decided to sneak around the back to figure out what the problem was. They waited for about 5 minutes before seeing a group of 6 men in suits come walking through the door. According to the witness, they were saying things like, "Has the area been cleared?" and "Secure him now." After a few more minutes, the 2 spotted another person wearing a dark suit and sunglasses, who had a similar face. Apparently, the man even giggled that unmistakable laugh belonging to Michael Jackson. In 2012, there was yet another supposed sighting of him in Croatia. This time, the man appeared to look homeless, but the spotter stated that he had the same sort of walk as the pop star. Conspiracy theorists then pointed to the cover of one of the albums titled Michael, and instruct the viewer to zoom in onto the lips, which they believe have the word "alive" written in the creases. The album's name is paired with this, which adds to the sentence resulting in Michael alive. They further reference the word Africa, which can be found on the bottom left of the cover, completing their conspiracy theory, which states that Michael Jackson is alive and in Africa. Mysteriously, a video circulated revealing the star's last day, but it disappeared. Conspiracists wonder where the footage of his final hours went. Adding to this, apparently the paramedics didn't even recognize the star, and reportedly found a very sickly older man. This has led to the belief that something is being hidden regarding the passing of the King of Pop. Number 9. Bruce Lee, the American-born martial arts film actor, was a beloved celebrity. He's well known for his role in Enter the Dragon and played Kato in the Green Hornet TV series, released in 1974. Unfortunately, this established and fan-favorite individual would pass away before his time. The 33-year-old's last day started normally. He'd been working with his business partner, Raymond Chow, and was set to visit the Taiwanese actress Betty Ting Pei. They looked over a script before Chow left the premises. Later, though, Lee developed a headache, and so Ting gave him medication containing aspirin. After 2 hours of not waking up, Ting got a hold of Chow, and the actor was taken to a hospital, where he would be declared deceased. The cause was officially listed as cerebral edema, as a result of an allergic reaction to the medication. The conspiracies that arose after this passing, though, were not that the actor was still alive, but rather how he'd met his demise. The theories start with a possible jealous lover. Chow explained that Lee was at home with his wife, Linda Lee, when he was struck down, a blatant lie that the press soon learned about. It didn't take long for rumors to circulate that the martial arts star was involved in an affair. Theorists pointed their fingers at the Taiwanese starlet, who may have administered a fatal dosage of Equagesic, concluding that she had poisoned him. This conspiracy alleged that the actor was looking at ending the affair, and in a fit of rage, Ting took her revenge. But the next theory about the man's passing is the one that took the cake. According to some conspiracy theorists, the ordeal involved the triads. This time, they speculate that Ting didn't act alone, but rather as a willing assassin for a triad gang. Apparently, the actor had a history with such a gang, and had beaten the son of one of the local leaders during his youth while doing some street fighting. Many conspiracies branch off from this one. One theory states that Lee had not paid the Hong Kong triads for supposed protection money on the film sets, resulting in an order to strike him down. Another theory states that this was the work of a mainland Chinese gang that merely wanted the actor out of the way. According to this allegation, the Cantonese film stars were a threat to the dominance of Mandarin films. Lee would have to go because of their fear of losing their investments. Ting and the triads weren't the only ones at the center of the conspiracy theories either. One of the first people mentioned in the case of the passing, aside from Lee, was Chow. It's speculated that he was another individual looking to protect his money. The two were business partners who founded Concord Production, Inc., the film company that helped make Way of the Dragon and Enter the Dragon, two of Lee's movies. Despite having a functional working relationship, the two's personal one was a bit more interesting. Theorists wondered if it was he who had the martial arts actor taken off the air to gain complete control of Concord. Among these outlandish claims came one attributed to an ancient martial arts technique that delayed the opponent's passing. It was known as Dim Mak, and many believed that he was struck with this technique and only later passed away. Another leading suggestion speaks of an ancient family curse. It's thought that it affects primarily male family members. Before Lee was born, his parents had lost a son. Another family member inflicted with said curse was Brandon Lee during the filming of The Crow. But Lee's older brother, Peter, lived until 69 years old, and Robert, the youngest of the brothers, is still alive. Number 8. Major James Hewitt, a former cavalry officer, was born in Derry, Northern Ireland, where his father was stationed in the British Navy. Hewitt continued the family tradition when he joined the British Army. He had also taken part in Operation Desert Storm during the Gulf War. It was this former major that became the center of one of the biggest royal scandals. Another character in this alleged scandal is Princess Diana, who married Charles III in 1981. And just a few years later, they had Prince Harry together in 1984. But conspiracy theorists believe otherwise. They suggest that Charles is in fact not the prince's father, but rather Hewitt. They attribute this to the relationship that he and Diana had shared, which is no conspiracy theory, but a fact that theorists have used as supporting evidence for their conspiracy. In the mid-1980s, the two had met at a party that included Diana's mention of her fear of horses. This was when Hewitt claimed to be a horse riding instructor and kindly offered to teach her to ride and help her overcome this fear. It was after this that the two secretly began seeing each other and having a relationship that lasted many years, all behind her husband's back. But the relationship ceased when Hewitt started serving in the Persian Gulf War and was unwilling to give up his career for the sake of the affair. But where does the proof of this supposed love affair come from? Well, Hewitt wrote a book about it, titled Princess in Love. Diana, of course, disputed much that had been said in the book, and claimed that most of it was a fantasy. She was upset that someone who she'd cared for would use her for financial gain. In a later interview with Martin Bashir, though, she did confirm the affair and stated that it went beyond a close friendship. After the affair was confirmed and made public, the conspirators began conspiring. The theory was that Harry's real dad was Hewitt, which could be made possible by the affair taking place around the time that the prince was born. The theorist then pointed to the similarities in appearance between the two, such as the flaming ginger hair. Questions about the prince's parentage were perpetuated by the media and the tabloids, who warned of an alleged plot to steal Harry's DNA. The Sunday Times even claimed that the police were alerted to such a plot when Prince Charles's private secretary had delivered a letter from a former police officer's lawyer. This letter claimed that a private detective had been hired to retrieve some of Harry's hair. In a court trial against Mirror Group newspapers, Harry testified that he'd spent years questioning his parentage and even believed the rumors. He also spoke of how his father would joke and tease at him, saying things like, "Who knows if I'm even your real father?" Harry later learns that the alleged affair with Hewitt and Diana had only begun after Harry was born, which somewhat debunks the conspiracy. Hewitt also refuted the claims about being the prince's father. In a 2017 interview with Australia's Channel 7, he was asked if he was the father, to which he responded that he wasn't. He explained that the whole thing is a mere conspiracy that sells papers, which is why it's still in circulation. Paul Burrell, Diana's former butler, also denied such claims. He stated that the princess didn't even know the man when the prince was born. Number 7. American singer, world-renowned composer, multi-instrumentalist, and performer Stevie Wonder was born in Michigan. Despite being declared visually impaired shortly after birth due to retinopathy of prematurity, a condition exacerbated by his premature birth and the oxygen-rich hospital atmosphere, Stevie's resilience and passion for music propelled him to become a leading musician. Raised in Detroit, he blossomed into a child prodigy and an accomplished musician at the age of 8. During his lengthy career, Stevie won 25 Grammy Awards and was added to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, where he stood out as one of the most influential 20th century artists. Stevie managed to evade the Illuminati conspiracies, along with the secret spy theories, but he couldn't escape the rumor that he could actually see and had been faking it his whole life. Videos and interviews have emerged supporting such a claim. Much of these interviews have come from friends and fellow musicians who personally know the singer. One such celebrity was the former professional basketball player Shaquille O'Neal. During an interview, he described a strange encounter that he had with Stevie, an encounter that conspiracy theorists are not reluctant to use as supporting evidence for their Stevie can see conspiracy. Shaq explained that he and Stevie lived in the same complex on Wilshire Boulevard in Los Angeles. And one day he'd been traveling through the building, and when he reached the lobby, the elevator door opened, only to reveal Stevie standing before him. The visually impaired musician casually entered the elevator and suddenly said, "What's up, Shaq?" The former professional basketball player explained that the performer pressed a button and climbed off at his floor. This story has many theorists speculating that the man can see, and Shaq isn't the only one claiming this either. During an airing of The Kelly Clarkson Show, an American talk show, one of Stevie's longtime friends and American songwriter, Lionel Richie, made a similar claim. He cited an incident that occurred some years prior when Lionel visited him at his house. The musician asked if he would like to hear a song, and then said they would need to go to the car to listen to it. So the two headed to the car with Stevie holding a cassette tape, and they climbed in. Except Stevie got in the driver's seat. He effortlessly placed the cassette in and looked behind him while reversing down the driveway. In a panic, Lionel protested, and his friend indicated that he was just joking. But conspiracy theorists take this as nothing less than proof. American comedian Steve Harvey came up with a story too. He explained that during his radio show, Stevie called him and told him that he'd just arrived there and was pulling in. He then told Harvey to look out the window, and when he did, he saw his visually impaired friend in the driver's seat of his truck. Elton John had evidence too. He stated that during a recording session at the Caribou Ranch in Colorado, Stevie proposed that he wanted to go out on a snowmobile, and that's exactly what he did, alone. Daryl Dawkins, a former NBA player, found evidence in this theory when Stevie could give a short description of what he looked like, and also provided some commentary on the way the NBA player played basketball. The alleged evidence hasn't only come in the form of tales by friends, but also through video validation. In 2014, a concert was held in honor of Paul McCartney. The performance was recorded, and it showed Paul accidentally knocking down a microphone stand in front of Stevie, who proceeded to catch it without even seeing it. During a TMZ interview, the singer also admitted that he had flown a plane and successfully landed it. Number 6. Chuck Baris is an American television producer and the host of various game shows. He created the 1960s game shows The Dating Game and The Newlywed Game. Baris was most well known for being the host of the comic talent show titled The Gong Show, which was in circulation from 1976 to 1978. But the host would become most remembered for the conspiracy theory that he started about himself in an unauthorized autobiography. In this memoir, titled Confessions of a Dangerous Mind, Baris states that he'd been secretly working for the CIA during the 60s and 70s, around the time he was developing those game shows. According to him, the intelligence organization didn't recruit him for comedic purposes, but rather as an assassin who took the lives of many. Theorists admit that the book may not be 100% true, but there may be some truth to it. They point to other CIA operations, including experiments on psyches and telekinesis, which makes the idea of recruiting someone who travels the world and appears on television not so far-fetched. It's speculated that perhaps the host was doing counterintelligence work for the government. In 2002, the memoir was made into a movie of the same name. Sam Rockwell starred in the film as Baris, depicting a scene at a CIA training facility called The Farm, which did exist. The movie also describes the alleged CIA recruit as one that fits the profile that the agency would look for. This fitting profile may refer to one of two things. The first is that he's possibly sociopathic, or that he's the type to be able to live a double life. But these statements were just factors analyzed from the movie. Some theorists, though, bring in other real-life actors that they may use as supporting evidence for such a theory. One such aspect is that Baris's first wife, Lynn, was the niece of William S. Paley, the CBS head. In the 50s and 60s, Paley had been working for the CIA, according to a Washington Post journalist. The journalist, Carl Bernstein, had written a tribute to individuals who cooperated with the CIA, including various broadcasting companies. Among those cooperatives was Paley. Dealing with these significant broadcast companies, the agency was able to post its most valuable operatives abroad without exposure for around 2 decades. They also lent undercover services for the agency to use. With Baris's affiliation with Paley, it would be impossible for him to be involved with the intelligence organization. But the claims of being an assassin are just as outlandish. According to his autobiography, Baris claimed that during his TV career, he would scout for locations to send the winners, but travel to such exotic areas to end some of America's Cold War enemies. The agency later denied that Baris had ever worked for them in any capacity, but trying to convince conspirators of that was a futile effort. Some theorists state the man had never cleared up this memoir before passing, and never said it was untrue. But in a 1984 interview, he admitted to making the whole thing up. But this is just seen as a backtracking to avoid any consequences for revealing his double-life secret. Number 5. Elvis Presley, the king of rock and roll, was one of the most dominant performers during the 1950s. The singer was only 42 years old when he passed away in 1977. It came unexpectedly, crushing the hearts of fans around the globe. Elvis had been diagnosed with high cholesterol, and upon his passing, his abdominal aorta compressed, which ultimately shut down his heart. According to skeptics, though, the star may have been the first of the music kings to have faked his demise. The supposed pretend dispatch was to protect himself and his family from threats they'd been receiving. The threats had come from the idea that he was working as an agent for the government, and rumors of his substance abuse were spread as a cover-up story. Strangely, though, there's some supporting evidence for this theory. It's known that the rock star wanted to be a secret agent, and even went to Richard Nixon to offer his services for such a role. Nixon had even given him a badge. According to the theorists who've dug up some supporting evidence for their fake passing theory, Elvis became a government informant, providing the DEA with information about the trafficking of narcotics in the entertainment industry. During this operation, dubbed Fountain Pen, the secret singer government agent was receiving mob threats, ultimately leading to his apparent passing, which, according to the conspiracy, never actually happened. Instead, the singer was stationed at a New Jersey base to keep him out of the eyes of fans and the media. Clues about these allegations are plentiful. First, the coroner was also the individual who wrote the medical journals for the Department of Justice, who linked him to the agency in charge of the whole thing. Then, during the funeral, it was noted that the body of Elvis was sweating, but that's medically not possible. This is because, according to theorists, it wasn't the celebrity at all, but rather a wax figure. There's an unclaimed life insurance policy, and the man's handwriting purportedly litters his own passing certificate. Moving from this, we then come to the alleged sightings of him. The day of the passing, or perhaps the world's most fantastic disappearing act, was on the 16th of August. That afternoon, someone who resembles the king of rock and roll bought a ticket from the Memphis International Airport, a one-way ticket to Buenos Aires, placed under the name John Burroughs, an alleged pseudonym that Elvis was known to use when checking into hotels. This wild theory was debunked when the author of Elvis Decoded, Patrick Lacey, pointed out that no international flights were available from Memphis for that entire year. The second sighting came that same year in December, but it wasn't until years later that it was noted. It came in the form of a photograph by Michael Joseph, a man visiting Graceland, who was taking some pictures of Elvis's pool house, and a few years later he was studying them with a magnifying glass. He then spotted a very Elvis-looking figure in the doorway. Kodak experts verified that there are no alterations to the picture. But Joe Esposito, a friend of the deceased, later suggested that it was just an associate named Al Strata and not the celebrity. There was yet another sighting. This time, he was seen in the line at a local supermarket. A woman named Louise had stated that she saw him, and he was even wearing his white jumpsuit. Her daughter later saw him at Burger King, his favorite fast food restaurant. More sightings began popping up. Some had even seen Elvis buying junk food or pumping gas. In 1987, Mojo Nixon and Skid Roper produced a single titled Elvis is Everywhere. Whether the star is alive or not, he remains a pop culture deity. Number 4. For the last time, Kubrick has not been sending secret messages. This was the heading of a post in a subreddit dedicated to Stanley Kubrick, the American motion picture director and writer. Dramatic visuals and attention to detail characterize Kubrick's films. Details like the hidden satanic, Illuminati, and other symbols. But according to Take Off Your Mask, a Reddit user, this was not the case. But theorists have argued otherwise. The director has been hiding some strange things in his 13 films that were made between 1953 and 1999. Some believe these hidden meanings may allude to certain frowned-upon entities or energies like secret societies. The list starts at the final film, Eyes Wide Open, starring Tom Cruise as William Harford. This character is invited to a secret party that looks a whole lot more like a ritual than anything else. Adding fuel to this is the fact that it had been filmed at the Mintmore Towers, a mansion that's owned by the Rothschilds, who've also been accused of Freemasonry and their involvement with the supposed New World Order. Conspirators point to another hidden symbol that is a lot more obvious and can be found in the film's title. These controversial theories have sparked a wave of intrigue among fans of Kubrick's work. Among them, Eyes Wide Shut has roots in secret societies, and Kubrick invited his fans into a world in which they were not welcome. He met his fate via a heart attack at the age of 70, which some theorists believe was induced by the Illuminati for his attempt to expose the ongoings in their secret society. In almost every one of the director's films, bathrooms make a symbolic appearance. Bathrooms are private sanctuaries that he uses to his advantage, such as in The Shining. Danny Torrance had his nightmare in the bathroom while his father Jack met up with a caretaker in a bathroom that was painted bright red. During this meeting, Jack realizes that he wants to end his family. The Room 237 scene also takes place in a bathroom, and with such an area there are bound to be mirrors, which this movie is full of. Theorists suggest that these mirrors represent personal demons that the characters face, and in Room 237, one of the characters is turned into a corpse through the mirror. Kubrick also places background objects in the films, foreshadowing the horrors that are to come. The Space Odyssey soundtrack was present in the start of the film A Clockwork Orange. Then in The Shining, there's a red book on the desk, which brings us to Dr. Sleep. Then we get the constant use of triangles and pyramid shapes in A Clockwork Orange, as well as eyes, which are used to symbolize power, according to those who have thoroughly dissected the films. In the opening scene, we're met with an eye adorned with makeup. Zooming out, we're then met with a triangle-shaped woman, who may be pointing to the idea that women are subordinates. And what else uses triangles, pyramids, and the eyes? The Illuminati. Number 3. In 2011, the English singer-songwriter Amy Winehouse joined the mysterious 27 Club. The 27 Club is the tragic coincidental passing of celebrities who met their demise at the early age of just 27 years old. Among the club are Jim Morrison, Jimi Hendrix, and Brian Jones. Adding to that list was Amy. The singer was an absolute success, and her passing came as a shock. Coroner Suzanne Greenaway reported that the passing was provoked by alcohol toxicity and accidental poisoning. It was believed that she'd suffered respiratory arrest due to the toxicity levels. According to Dr. Christina Ramette, her patient had stopped consuming alcohol 2 weeks prior before suddenly starting again. In 2013, a second inquest into the passing was conducted by a second coroner, and the conclusion was the same. So why do theorists not believe these deductions? Conspirators have pointed to the holes in the story and the unanswered questions following the star's passing. Many have even gone as far as taunting Amy's father, attempting to convince him that his daughter had faked it. Her father, of course, doesn't believe this, but if she is still living, where is she? According to conspiracy theorists, the songstress is living on an island with the rest of the allegedly deceased celebrities, whose passings don't make a lot of sense either. Such celebrities include Tupac and Michael Jackson. Footage of the star's funeral was also posted online, which sparked conspiracy theorists to state that the world's a stage and that these celebrities are alive and well. How Amy passed away and whether or not she faked it remains a mystery. Perhaps conspiracy theorists are correct in their claim, but not in the way they put it. In 2011, The Sun reported that Pete Doherty had gone to Paris after allegedly seeing the star's ghost in his London apartment. He only decided to leave the area after the third or fourth occurrence. Adding to this, Mitch, Amy's father, has seen various sightings of blackbirds ever since his daughter's alleged passing. Theorists don't have much supporting evidence for their theory that Amy is still alive, aside from the sketchiness surrounding how it happened and in the toxicology reports. Aside from the ghostly apparitions, there have been no reported sightings of the singer since the passing. So in this case, the conspirators don't have too much to go on. Number 2. Canadian singer and teen idol Justin Bieber sparked an international craze in 2009 at the start of his career. It began with his first single, a love song titled One Time. The singer didn't take long to amass a solid following and fan base. He also became the center of some strange conspiracy theories that arrived pretty quickly. There are many theories about the celebrity, but one came more recently in 2017. This conspiracy theory speaks of the young adult's reptilian roots. If you're not familiar with the reptilian conspiracy theory, it revolves around the apparent idea that lizard people are ruling the world. The supposed lizard people mainly refer to those in power, but they may also be famous singers, actors, actresses, and other significant influencers. According to a 2016 article, at least 12 million Americans believe that alien lizards are among the ruling figures. And in 2017, Bieber became one such figure. A rumor began circulating that the singer had carelessly turned into a giant reptile at an airport, and hundreds of fans witnessed it. YourNewsWire.com posted an article about the shapeshifter, which features an alleged altered screenshot from a PerthNow.com.au article. The headline of this alleged article was "Hundreds of fans claim they saw Justin Bieber turn into a giant reptile." The article claimed that the celebrity's head shrunk and his eyes went black. He also grew a couple of feet and his body became decorated with scales. The whole thing happened very quickly, but many fans saw it and started crying or screaming. Perth Now claims that such an article never existed and that they even searched their CMS, finding no mention of the cold-blooded performer. The only supporting evidence for this conspiracy is that if there were proof, then it's been wiped from the entire internet world. One site that's no longer accessible also claimed that Bieber had been a dominant member of the Illuminati reptilian lineage. It also alleged that many historians, who went unsighted, stated that there have been sightings of reptilian humanoids throughout history. But this wasn't the only time that the star was caught shapeshifting. One clip from 2014 featured the detained celebrity in court. It shows him blinking and having a sudden eye color change, but that video is now conveniently unavailable. One of the more memorable quotes from an alleged witness of the 2017 transformation stated that Bieber was accompanied by his bodyguard when he turned into the apparent alien humanoid. According to the witness, the bodyguard pointed at the crowd of people and threatened them if they didn't put their phones down. Another onlooker claimed that some bystanders hid in bathrooms and others headed for the exit. While many of the alleged witnesses had recorded the whole ordeal, not a single video has made it onto the internet. Number 1. Lady Gaga is an American singer, songwriter, and performance artist. She's well known for her incredible flamboyant costumes and her strong vocals. Her famous songs include Bad Romance, Born This Way, and Just Dance. Gaga also played roles in films such as Sin City and A Star Is Born. Much like most other modern musicians, this pop star was unable to evade the conspiracy theorists and their obsession with the Illuminati. Since the very start of her music career, she's been painted as a follower of Satan. In 2010, another conspiracy theory began doing the rounds and continued to rise. It started on a website called The Vigilant Citizen, which reports on the activities of the secret society that allegedly controls pop culture. This website made the outlandish claim that Gaga is an Illuminati puppet. Most know who and what the Illuminati are, but in short, they were an 18th century society that consisted of free thinkers, rumored to have some hidden agendas for the world. The Duke of Bavaria banned the society, but it's believed to be operating behind the scenes and trying to establish a new world order. According to theorists, the singer incorporates symbolism into her songs, videos, and photos that point to the Illuminati and mind control. The website creator, who's referred to as Vigilant, made several posts about Gaga and believes that the society brainwashed her. They speak of an alleged mid-century intelligence operation called Project Monarch that explored some mind control techniques, which the star is a victim of. The article alleged that the singer's entire persona is a mind control tribute, pointing to the absent-minded and incoherent traits. Vigilant suggests that this symbolism is being used to brainwash the impressionable fans, and that they only need look at a few pictures and videos. Theorists point to the fact that she regularly hides one of her eyes, a reference to the all-seeing eye, an occult symbol that traces all the way back to Horus. There are many analyses that have been carried out on the songs that Gaga has released, including one titled The Brain. The theorists believe that this is a song about mind control, where the singer can be heard speaking robotically as though she's been lobotomized. The celebrity didn't help herself either when she revealed a recurring nightmare during an interview. She was dreaming of a phantom in her house, and it would take her into a room where a blonde woman would be found bound with ropes on all of her limbs. This woman is also wearing Gaga's shoes. This dream points to an apparent Illuminati ritual. Vigilant further points to the singer's name, inspired by a Queen song called Radio Gaga. The song contains scenes from the movie Metropolis, which tells the story of a working-class woman who the elite had chosen to give life to a robot using science and some black magic ritual. Another picture of Gaga shows her in the same iconic position as Baphomet, who's believed to be a symbol of Satanism. In another music video, the background turns into a hypnotic swirling pattern, which theorists again believe is a brainwashing technique. Paparazzi captured the performer wearing a t-shirt consistent with the sigil popularized by Anton LaVey. According to the article, Gaga is trying to do everything required to become an international celebrity, including adding elite symbolism to her music. So is Lady Gaga an Illuminati puppet? Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to hit that like button. Also, don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell to keep up to date with all of our future uploads. But my name is Ty Knotts, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.